Guys, in my opinion, we have a really toxic relationship with failure. I have a confession to make today. I used to belittle a really good friend of mine who started a YouTube channel, and he would make gaming content and other kinds of content too. And I would kind of make fun of him and say, "Oh, you think you're gonna be famous someday?" And "Oh, you think your YouTube's gonna pop off," and stuff like that, right? I would hate on him for it a lot, and that's because I was insecure. I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to make a channel like this, but I was afraid of getting on camera. I was afraid of everyone judging me and making fun of me. And so I would project my insecurities onto him. And I think at the core of all of that was I had a fear of failure. Ever since we were kids, we were told that failure is not an option, right? I mean, you go to school and you sit down and you're supposed to get 100% in those classes, right? In the classroom, there is no good mistake you can really make. If you get an assignment in school, the assignment is to get 100%, and everything past perfection is not good enough. B's should have been A's, and C's should have been B's, and D's should have been C's, and so on and so forth, right? You guys get what I'm saying. I mean, failure or not being at 100% or not being perfect in school is a problem. The kids in school who are thought of as model students are the ones who get 100% and go to every single charity drive and join every single club and basically have no life outside of school, and creativity is just something to get in the way. If you're into music, you're into art, stuff like that. That is just stuff in the way of you getting an 100%. So in short, that's the model in our society. And I'm not at all trying to say that I'm some kind of victim or that all of us are subject to our environment entirely. But growing up in that environment does make you feel inadequate when you're not getting 100%. I used to say things growing up like, "Oh, I just can't wait until I can be done with school and get a regular job working at, IHOP or GameStop or something like that. And I'll just get a PlayStation and hopefully we can go to the beach once a year." And I'm cool with that because, chasing perfection was exhausting for me. And I also had other aspirations. I like doing a lot of stuff in my church. I was really into sports. I love making music with my friend. I loved studying, different types of arts like movies and TV. And I had other aspirations outside of getting 100% on my biology test. I did. I really just thought, you know what? I'll hang out with my friends. I'll hang out with my family. I'll do my stuff and I'll get by and get a regular job someday. And I know a lot of people probably feel the same way. And that was my goal, because the society where we have to be perfect all the time and never make mistakes and never fail it's ruthless. It's exhausting. It's not what I want to be a part of. But when I got out of college, I started to realize something. I started to realize that this idea you get from academia where you have to be 100% perfect and never fail and never mess up does not really map on to the real world at all. Of course, there are some jobs and positions in society where you're expected to still, just carry out your specific task. So whenever I worked at Subway, I would make subs. I wasn't, there to be creative and innovate or anything like that. And sometimes you still run into that. But after college, I started to listen to some of the great entrepreneurs out there, and I started to realize that they had a very different relationship with failure than the one that I was used to. I started to listen to people like Dave Ramsey and Graham Stephan and Craig Rochelle, and wow, they had a very different take on failure. And the same thing seems to go for a lot of really successful musicians and a lot of really successful athletes as well. There's one thing I really realized that all of these people had in common. They have a much healthier relationship with failure. Michael Jordan once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." And Dave Ramsey has a similar sentiment. Dave once said, "Success is a pile of failure that you are standing on." It's a very Dave Ramsey type of quote. And even Kanye has a really interesting take on this. Kanye once said, "If everything I did failed," which it doesn't, very Kanye of him, "it actually succeeds. Just the fact that I'm willing to fail is an inspiration. People are so scared to lose that they don't even try." And here's one I love from Craig Rochelle. Craig Rochelle once said, "Failure is not an option. Failure is necessary. We try, we fail, we learn, we adjust." So the more and more I kept thinking about this and kept looking, the more I found that really successful people have a very different view. They are more than willing to fail. A lot of them even view failure as something that's necessary, something that has to happen, something that is actually the way to becoming successful. There's a term for what I believe that they all share, and that's the growth mindset. So what really is a growth mindset? In short, it's a belief that you are capable of growing, or that you are not a fixed finished product, and that growth often comes from failure or the constructive feedback of other people. I mean, bodybuilders certainly understand that. I mean, they literally go to the gym until they fail, until their arms can't curl anymore, and that is how they get their growth, right? Another thing is that you understand that risks are inherent to growth, and that you need to jump out of your box sometimes, jump out of your shell in order to learn how to grow. And you understand that it's all right if it doesn't work out, but the important thing is that you tried to grow. Another thing, and this is where I really messed up with my friend, is that you were inspired by other people's success. You're not there feeling threatened because you're not willing to take the risk yourself, right? Because you know that most greatness is learned, and you're capable of learning too. One of the great things about being in a growth mindset is that the only thing that's really required is your effort, not perfection. I mean, you're just trying to progress every single day. The goal you had of getting 100% on every single biology quiz and every single test is out the window. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about perfection. The only real goal we have is to have progress. We're doing progress over perfection. Because I think a lot of the time we don't even make an effort because we know we're not perfect. And that's a silly way of looking at it, in my opinion. And that, unfortunately, is a way that's kind of conditioned into us. Like, if you think you're not gonna be good at baseball and you see someone who's really good and you're like, oh, I'm not the perfect pitcher right now, a lot of us will just say, well, why try then? Why bother? But if you really love baseball and you want to get better at it, just try and become the best baseball player you can be every single day, right? You'll never become that person you dream of being if you're that critical of yourself and you don't allow yourself permission to grow and get better and not be perfect right away. I think we need to stop viewing failure as something to be avoided. And you might think of Michael Jordan as one of the most perfect basketball players to ever play the game, right? But he knew that he wasn't perfect, and in fact, he said it a lot. Could you just imagine if someone like Michael was like, oh, it's supremely unlikely that I'll become the best basketball player of all time, so why even bother? Why even put the work in if it's going to be so unlikely and I'll never do that? If he had a fixed mindset like that, one that wasn't capable of growth, we never would have witnessed Michael Jordan. Because let's be honest, it's pretty unlikely to become someone like Michael, right? But that growth mindset and his ability to see progress over perfection is what pushed him there. I'm not saying that the dream that you or I have, we're ever gonna become like the best at it. Like, I don't believe if I started today, I'd ever become the best hockey goalie of all time, right? But that's not really the point. I don't even know if we'll ever become great at them or we'll ever become, the best in our area at it, right? But what I am saying though is that you owe it to yourself to try. Guys, we have one life. One. And you owe it to yourself to pursue that calling to the best of your abilities. This is how I think about it. I'm gonna become the best YouTuber and realtor and youth pastor that I can be. And 3 years ago, I would have been afraid to become any of those things at all. But I think in the headspace that I'm in now, I realize that I owe it to myself not to leave these what ifs, and I owe it to myself to become the person that I know I'm called to be. I know that I would have personally been sitting in regret forever if I didn't try this stuff. And I may never be the best realtor in Pennsylvania or the best realtor even in my office, but I will be the best realtor that Zach Williamson can be. And that, in my opinion, is fulfilling your purpose. So guys, don't view risk and failure as something to be avoided. Allow yourself to grow and become the best version of you that you can possibly become. Here's the challenge for you guys after you finish this video, and thank you for watching this far. Straight from Kanye himself. Yes, I know. Kanye said, "What would you do today if you weren't afraid of the consequences of failure?" Interesting. So think about it. What would you do? What are the things that you're afraid to do, but you know you really want to do? I'm talking, you want to be an artist. You want to, make clothes and sell them on Pinterest. You want to become a real estate agent. Maybe you want to talk to me about that, and we totally can. Maybe you want to, maybe you want to make a movie. I have a friend who makes movies, and it's really cool. If you weren't afraid of failing and you gave yourself a growth mindset, what would you be doing today? And guys, I know this isn't really like a real estate video, but I really wanted to talk about this. I talk a lot about, self-help style stuff on my Facebook and my Instagram and stuff. And I really believe that mindset is a key reason how I've, become the best version of me that I know how to be right now. This stuff has helped me a lot, and I'm super proud of where I've come from and where I am now, and I know that you can be that way too. Here's an example of failure, guys. My light behind me just died, so you're gonna get that in this video. You're gonna get to see me, not charge my lights. But as always, let me know if you guys need anything. You guys are welcome to call me at this number right here. I'm about selling or buying any properties in Central PA, or if you want to talk about getting a growth mindset and figuring out how to make your life a little bit better and get over your fears and everything, you guys are welcome to reach out to me about that as well. All right, see ya.